They changed their motto from "the only good Indian is a dead one" to "kill the Indian but save the man." When they forced us to go to boarding school, they told us to let all that was Indian within us die. The National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition was formed to bring truth, justice, and healing for boarding school survivors and descendants in the United States. The time for healing is now.
I was placed in the boarding school, or I ended up at the boarding school one night when I was about 6 years old.
The boarding school was St. Joe's Academy in 1968.
I actually thought I was going to be free, but the Bureau of Indian Affairs lady and her husband were right there to pick me up. And, aside from having a place to sleep and having 3 meals a day, I don't have a whole lot of good things to say about the boarding school.
Then the boarding school was really affected my self-esteem, not wanting to know the language, not really involved in the ceremonies, and just to being proud of who I was.
You know, we're taught we're not supposed to do certain things, but I ask myself, well, where did that come from? Why are we fearful sometimes? Those kinds of teachings come from the military part of our experience, but I've had to take myself to places beyond some of those borders that I've taught work at. When I was able to do that, it was just a sense of relief.
I think the coming generations have a lot of responsibility. It was our generation that became aware of the need for healing.
They tried to make us into white people by cutting our hair and then taking our language and all the horrific things that happen in other places, but it's in here, it's still here, it's strong as ever, and I'm going to pass it on.
It's important to educate the people on what you do know in all areas, not just the history and the trauma that our people went through, but how beautiful our people were.
The boarding school experience made me very angry, and I stayed angry, but the context in which I passed that anger into the future, I want it to be better.
I'm happy about is my grandchildren won't be able to experience some of the things that I've witnessed, a lot of the people that I've grew up witness.
When I think about healing, and once we are able to put aside, you know, some of these major issues that have impacted us in Indian country, to me it's about being more in control of who we are as Indigenous people of this land.
Go on a hill fast, you know, do something, because all of those things that the boarding school was put in place to take away, to strip us of our culture, you failed. With me, you failed.